Got our huge elbows.
On this episode of the Thai Life,
The only wet spot in the whole face.
So I want to get it in this groove back here.
Boy. Stuck.
turns out they are indeed poking their little green heads out. This is awesome. This is like the first sign of spring for me.
Okay, got our huge elbows. Yeah, they're quite large, but unfortunately they cost more than the $5 buckets from Home Depot. And we are going to be putting them down on the ends of our manifolds. So these big elbows slide right on to the male end, and there's a gasket that has come with it. Even though this is the same manufacturer of pipe as this, it's a slightly different product line, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on. I might just have to seal this up with foam, with spray foam, but I am going to try to get it on. So I want to get this manifold into this corner as close as I can, because it's going to go up the rammed earth and then it's going to follow the profile of the rake wall above me and then up into the high point of the greenhouse. But I want it to be somewhat out of sight as best I can. It's not going to be the prettiest, and I got to figure out a way to disguise it. Maybe we can grow some vines around it. And because we're going to switch to metal ductwork in the greenhouse. Maybe I have it come up here and hides this crack. Okay. Okay, so here's the gasket that came with the elbows. But this particular pipe has a built-in gasket if you bought the right components. But the elbows we bought were $250. The elbows for this were $750. Pretty sure I can make these ones work. I'm going to try to get this on, stretch it on, see what happens. Got a bar. Standing in a wet spot. Pretty heavy gasket. It's a big stretch.
It's the only wet spot in the whole face.
So I want to get it in this groove back here.
Boy.
Oh boy. Work it.
Do you have
Bars?
yeah, it's in there. Okay, that's good. That's somewhere.
The only wet spot in the whole greenhouse.
Okay, so it turns out these seals don't work because when we get them on, we have 15 inches diameter and the bell ends on the elbows are 14 and a half. It's just not going to fit. So I have a second idea with spray foam that's going to work. So let's try that out. Great stuff. Okay, let me do it from a couple different angles. Let me get this side. Nettie, no. No, Nettie. Maybe go with more of it or what? Probably, hey? That's a lot of foam. It's pretty close. Two. Screw in. It's pretty good, and then that will help hold it up. Clean up the spray foam after. Do one more. You got that, babe?
So our neighbor came by this morning and told me that her garlic is already poking out of the ground like this much. So I thought I would come and check ours. I planted over 100 bulbs in this long bed last October. I think we did it towards the end of October. It's all hardneck varieties. We've got Red Russian, Tibetan. I think that's all I did this year was Red Russian and Tibetan. Anyway, turns out they are indeed poking their little green heads out of the ground. We did a really thick mulch of wood chips and big pieces of bark from when we were using the wood chipper. So it definitely needs to be sort of like loosened up and some of the big pieces of bark taken off so that they can actually come up. But yeah, this is awesome. This is the first sign of spring for me and the first time that I get to actually get my hands in the ground. So I'm just going to go across the whole bed, take off the big bits, and I'm still going to leave a little layer of mulch on because we do still have some cooler nights for at least another month or so, just to make sure that it doesn't get any frost. After I got all the wood chips and the big pieces of bark off the garlic patch, I was going to go dump all of the wood chips into our compost pile, but I thought, what better to give the chickens as a treat than this freshly composted wood. Wood chips and wood does when it sits in the soil for a long period of time is it brings a lot of earthworms up to the surface and it helps them multiply, brings a lot of bug life. So I'm imagining that this pile behind me that they're devouring right now is probably full of yummy, delicious things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get here in the coop. So yeah, I'm just gonna let them dig through it, and yeah, I think they're really gonna like it.
So it's been a couple hours since I spray foamed the elbows to the manifolds, and everything is nice and stiff. Not a lot of movement at all, just the pipe, which is great. So I've also done a bead of spray foam inside, just at the bell here. So that's also going to help it seal it up for airflow. I'm really not worried about air leaking out of here at all with the spray foam. This stuff expands quite a bit. And I doubt I will ever get this off. I've calculated the measurements for my total length, so I've got to cut some more length of the manifold, sleeve it into the bell end on the manifold piece, the longer 20-foot piece, to get my full length, slide those together, and cap the ends. So that's going to be the next thing. I'm going to get those pieces put together before I drill the remaining outlets for the 4-inch weaving tile with the sock. So once we get those all put together, we're going to double check the measurement for the length of the weaving tile with the sock and cut those, but that'll probably be tomorrow morning. So get these cut. Oh, the other thing I have to do is also cut the vertical riser, which once this is on the ground is going to end up, I'm going to cut off about 2 feet above. We'll see what the lengths of pipes are, but approximately 2 feet above the delta run. So I can cut that off later, and then that's where we're going to have to transition into tin pipe, just a galvanized tin and then figure out a way to make that look pretty. So we got our 12-inch pipe cut, and we're going to insert this pail lid into here. It actually fits quite nicely. So do that quick. Just pop her in. That's pretty snug in there. And then, just to stop this from moving with any sort of fill or force, I'm going to use a JB Weld. No, not JB. Gorilla epoxy. It's 2-part plastic epoxy. And we are just going to cut it off and put it around the edge, and it should hold that pail lid in there perfectly. So yeah, we're just going to go around the edge. Might be a little difficult to see. This stuff bonds in 5 minutes. We can test it out. But I've used this on a couple things in the past, and it's stronger than a lot of things you would expect. I'm gonna let that set and go prep the other extension. We can come back and test this. 5 minutes, they say. I'm going to use this whole tube, one hole. I got 2 of them, so I'll use 1 on each. Once you start to use this stuff, you're not gonna be able to reuse it, so it'll harden up and you'll be plugged up. At least to the best of my knowledge. All right, so this stuff has been set up, the 2-part epoxy. That sets up nice. We got 2 little drums. And now we're going to insert these into the ends of manifolds. Over here, over into that end. And 1 on each end, so there's that one, and then we've got the other manifold way over here, and the elbow for that one is on the opposite side, and it's going to go up in the corner. So I'm just going to double check this pipe, the riser pipe, make sure it fits in the corner between the windowsills. It should be below them. I don't want this to come up through too far above the actual finish grade. I want to leave the rammed earth there so we can see that. See that column, and rather than covering that up with this pipe. So see if that one fits, and then we're gonna insert these into the end with some lube. I'm just gonna use some oil and see how that goes. Yeah, it's like I can cut at least 1 more ring off this. That will fit under the sills. We'll cut 1 ring off that one. So out there. So we want to have some lube here as well as on the other end of the gasket that we're inserting. I'm just going to use some motor oil. Should hopefully give me the slip that I need. Don't know what else to use for lube, so if I'm doing it wrong, I'm sure someone can let me know. This is unused motor oil, so just think it's going to be a snug fit. I'm going to probably have to pound her in. Do the same thing on the male end. On this gasket that they've given us, I'm going to assume this will seal up quite nicely, probably better than the spray foam did. Put it down back on the ground and insert it and give her some smacks with the hammer and see how it goes. For what it's worth, let's just see how it goes right now. Yeah, that's gonna need some hammering. So I managed to get this one in with the bar and a chunk of wood, just prying on it. It's in there nice and solid now and feels sealed. Unfortunately, I stopped filming because we had a bit of a rainstorm. Now the sun's out and it's beautiful again. But I've got the other one prepped up, so we'll go over there and I'll just show you how I put that one in. First, show you how I put this one in, but while doing that one. Oh, way easier than what I was trying to do. Sledgehammer. Okay, so now that I've got the manifold extensions put together, I'm just gonna drill in for the weeping tile pipe on this side, the full length, as well as finish off the couple on the other side, and then we're gonna set these in place and double check our measurements for the lengths of the weeping tile and cut that and then put that in. So almost done. So with these, we got just a little bit of play, not a ton, but there is slight gaps. So I'm gonna just spray foam again around the perimeter. It's gonna lock these in place a little bit as well. The black ones actually have a little bit more play in them. You can see this one's got a little more play. And anyways, if I just spray foam this in place, we're gonna help lock those in as well as seal up, just seal it up a little bit better so there's less air loss out of the pipes. Now we got all our outlets spray foamed in there. We have the manifold flipped. And now we're gonna put in the riser over in this corner. Put that riser in, spray foam that, and do the same on the opposite corner.